We have an event coming up. It's been a long, one of those annual events you can look forward to here in Polk County, and we're pleased to have Robert D'Angelo with us, the events director for the Lake Mirror Classic. And welcome to Sports Central. Great to be here. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Absolutely. You have 12 minutes. Go. No, no. I joke. I just know how passionate you are about this event. It does have a long history of occurring here in Polk County. No, it kind of skipped a year or so. It was 2 years, right? Yeah. In and around the COVID situation. So I know you've really taken it on as a labor of love to bring it back in its glory. So when is this year's events? And then tell us a little bit what's going to be different about this event. Okay, so October 20th through 22nd, 3 days. Friday night around Lake Mirror starts with the sun up. The sun will set over the lake, and that is our, and I'm proud to say this, the Visit Central Florida Hot Rod Rendezvous. And I think that's going to be a great partnership, and I think it's going to be great for all of us. And what we're doing there, we'll have a live band. There's a stage that's set up, very family friendly. We'll have over 100 cars there, and the whole center section of the area by the stage will be all pre-1949 traditional hot rods, street rods, and customs. And then everything from there up through modern hot rod and high-performance vehicles will be around the lake as well. And there's something else that you're not aware of that I'm going to announce right now. Oh. A good friend of mine that has an alcohol dragster is going to be bringing it over on Friday and Saturday. And he has agreed to go ahead and put Visit Central Florida on the side of his car for the event. He's not racing it anywhere, is he? He's not racing it anywhere. You don't have to worry about that liability. All the county attorneys upstairs just got really That's why it got hard to breathe. All the air got sucked out of the room right there.
And then he jumps Lake Mirror. No.
Yeah. Evil Knievel style. Right. Well, that was the one with the little toy that I had, the Evil Knievel thing. There you go. So that's a little bit about Friday night. And then Saturday's the real big day, and that's the day where we have the Lake Mirror Concours d'Elegance around the lake, and then all of downtown is shut down for a giant car show. We'll have over like 400 or 500 cars downtown, and that in and of itself is an incredible car show, pretty much as good as anything you're going to find. And then beyond that's the Concours d'Elegance, and those are the highest end of vehicles. I mean, we have a Bugatti coming that I understand is worth like $19 million, and it's going to be displayed with another Bugatti that's like a 2020, I believe it's a Devo. It's like a $3 or $4 million car. So those two together are just ridiculous. But I think probably the biggest attraction and feature this year is probably bringing the Futureliner down from the National Auto and Truck Museum in Auburn, Indiana. And there's only 2 of them that have been restored. And General Motors started doing a parade of progress back in 1936. And on February 11th, 1936, the very first place the parade of progress visited and debuted was in Lakeland, Florida. We're seeing some images right now. Not to take you off topic here, but what are we looking at right here? That is the Futureliner. Okay. And that is a picture of what the vehicle is, and what's really amazing, people will be able to get up in it and see what it's like in the cab of it. Mm-hmm. And so they'll let people do that. I think there's some other photographs of it as well. And that's another with the side of it closed right there. And these are mammoth vehicles. Mm-hmm. They have dual wheels on the front as well as on the back, and I think they weigh like 30,000 pounds. And they're 11 feet tall. They're giants. And imagine having 12 of those roll into your hometown. Sure. Back in the 40s and 50s and 30s back in the day, and it was kind of like a rolling World's Fair. Each of those vehicles had a different theme. The one that's coming to our show in October, that one was actually used for a number of different themes during its span of use with the Parade of Progress. So it was used as the sign-up one. It had a few different types of displays in it. Not only is that vehicle going to be there, but another special group of vehicles, there's a thing called the General Motors Motorama cars. And 1953 was kind of the pinnacle of the Motorama cars. And so we'll have a 1953 Cadillac Eldorado, a 1953 Buick Skylark, and a 1953 Oldsmobile Fiesta. Most people have never heard of the Oldsmobile Fiesta. It was, I think, 300 or 400 of them were ever made. And then I saw some photos of the Motorama cars, and they had some Corvettes, which weren't officially Motorama cars, but the 1953 was the very first year for the Corvette. Right now we're looking at having not just one, but two. One of them is serial number 44, and the other is serial number 239 of the original 300 that were ever made. I remember the serial numbers of these cars, but don't ask me where I left my keys this morning, right? So,
well, like when we started, I knew how passionate he was, so I was like, go.
Yeah. So so 1953, we said this special year. Is this sort of the year that they took the auto show on the road?
Well, they had been doing it for years, but for whatever reason, these 1953 cars were very limited edition vehicles. The Buick, I think, was like around 1,400 were made, and that was far and away the highest production count for any of those vehicles. The old Fiesta was, I'm trying to remember if it's 349.
Not to be confused with Neal's Ford Fiesta.
No, not to be confused with that. That's true. Last year we had a couple.
Had one of those.
We had two vehicles last year that were called Facile Vegas, and they were French cars with Chrysler engines in them, and they're really neat looking. Incredibly rare to have two of them in one place was like shocking, but again, the Vega name.
The Vega.
Yeah. Well, let me ask this, because you guys are clearly car enthusiasts. I know my truck gets me from work to home, and that's about the extent of it. Like I don't have the passion for it. I'm not saying it's a great event, but for someone who's maybe not a car enthusiast and doesn't know exactly what you guys are talking about, the ins and outs and the rolling show and all this, if they go to the Lake Mirror Classic, what are they going to see? Obviously vehicles, but what is it? Is there an experience, or is there an educational component, or what is it that someone who maybe doesn't know very much about cars can expect from this event?
One of my favorite things is we actually bring 4 generations together for an event that's free for spectators, and everybody's going to have a smile on their face. There's eye candy for everyone. When I talked about the Bugatti, for example, you've got a modern supercar and a 1937 version of the same manufacturer. We're going to have a whole bunch of exotic cars on Massachusetts, right adjacent to the lake. Mm-hmm. But beyond the cars, all of the shops are open, all of the restaurants are open, and you're just going to see history. We're going to have a gentleman named John Giuseppe, who's a local Lakeland artist. A lot of people may be familiar with some of his work, but he's going to be there, and he has agreed to not only to show some of his work, but he's going to, he does color pencil, and he's going to do the Future Liner, take some photographs of it, and then he'll be doing an art piece on that, and next year that's going to become our poster. But for all of the, like for an entire family, cars, people, events, restaurants, we have a bicycle display of antique bicycles that are coming, and that's in and of itself pretty amazing. That gets a lot of attention. So it's much more than just a car show.
Right.
I look at it as it's a history lesson, and it's also art. And for me, you know, the passion about cars, yeah, that's true. But for me, really, it's the story behind them and the history there. That's what I find most interesting. So I encourage people to talk to the car owners, whether they're downtown at the car show or around the lake. Mm-hmm. Every vehicle's got a story, and some of them will just blow you away. This was my grandfather's car. I remember riding in the back in the window, which was like horribly illegal now. Right. But back in the day, some of us survived.
Right.
And you know, there's just all these different stories, and the passion comes out from those people. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if just as a spectator you end up finding folks that you meet that end up becoming friends through it all, just because that's the type of personality most of them are.
And it cuts, you know, it's generational in pop culture, right? So because cars are part of pop culture as well. Mm-hmm. So you get the Herbies. You get
there's going to be a Herbie there.
In fact, I probably know the guy who owns it.
You do.
And so you get the the Herbies and the different that are actually part of popular culture as well, that all ages will sort of connect with.
See, it's funny you say that, because exactly to your point, you're talking about the Herbies. When you say Herbies, I think of Kirk Herbstreit's awards at the end of the college football season.
I thought you were figuring Herbie Hancock that you were still listening to on the truck coming over.
No. Well, give us the dates. Give us the dates, and what is the website where people can get more information, exactly as you were just speaking of.
October 20th, that Friday evening, around the lake. Saturday, October 21st, around the lake and all of downtown. And then on Sundays, a road rally. It starts at the Peggy Brown building at Lake Mirror, and it will end at a not to be disclosed at this time location within Polk County. And then the website is lakemirrorclassic.com.
All right.
Well, and if you have anybody has additional questions, there's a place there to ask those questions. We'll do our best to answer them in a timely manner.
Yeah, we've got about 60 seconds left here, but I wanted to ask you, is there an opportunity for this community, you know, so many great events, sports and special events, and this certainly falls in it. Is there an opportunity for individuals who maybe want to volunteer or help to facilitate the event?
Absolutely,
is there a
yes.
need for that? I figured there was.
We'll never say no to volunteers. One other thing I do want to mention while we have a couple more seconds is, because Lake Mirror is right there, we attract a bunch of vintage mahogany wooden boats. They will be in and around the lake, and amphicars. Everybody loves the amphicars. And I've learned it's the personality of the owners that makes them infectious.
Well, Robert, thank you so much. Again, October 20th through the 22nd, Lake Mirror Classic. One more time, what's the website?
lakemirrorclassic.com.
All right.
If you enjoyed this interview and want to watch more Sports Central, click the video below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.